Welcome, 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 beautiful hearts. We are talking about actualizing our vision. Oftentimes, we know we have to envision new earth, we have to create that vision of how we move forward to it. But how do we actualize that? What needs to be done? My guest today is Catherine O'Connor, and she is a marvelous healer. She works with sensitives and starseeds, healers, leaders, and anyone who wants to connect to their truth and amplify their mastery. So, we're talking about actualizing our vision as we meet Catherine O'Connor. Hi, Catherine. Thank you so
Hi,
much for being here.
hi, Lauren. It's an absolute delight to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
How is it going right now? Let's recap. We're going to talk about actualizing our vision, but this year of 2025, it's almost at an end, has been so I want to say cataclysmic for many wishing to make a change. Can you give us your insight on what has transpired this year in the energies and what that means for all of us?
Okay, so like the guides are really present at the moment. So a lot of what I'm bringing forward, like when you ask me the question, is the guide speaking as well? So
Okay.
because I'm a conscious channel, I sometimes am more part of the conversation or I'm less part of the conversation. And at the moment, it's sort of 80, 20, like the guides are 80 and I'm 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could feel them just start to come in like very strongly as you introduced me. So what we would say is we would say that the energies of 2025 have been we recognize the word cataclysmic, and but we would say that the energies have been very acceleratory. So they have been, so for many of you, you've been on a path of ascension for a long time. And if you think about it in terms of a slope, we know that like the energies of Kilimanjaro are present as well. And that being a mountain peak that is climbed or that is ascended, it's a little bit like that. 2025 is 2025, and then the next 2 years, and maybe even a little bit more than that, are like the peak. They're like climbing that steep ascension slope. So you've done a lot of preparatory work prior to 2025 in ways of warming yourself up to this ascension process of ascending as you've been doing that. And what these energies in the next few years, and 2025 really is the beginning of that, is ascension. It's that absolute process of dedication to the spiritual journey. And when we say spiritual journey, we include your personal life. That is a spiritual journey. Um, yeah, so your spiritual journey, your personal journey, your evolutionary journey is in a way speeding up. So it's a bit like the trainer wheels off now, and you're on an acceleratory path. Now, that acceleratory path can look like so many different things to so many different people. It can look like having kind of major things happen in your life that cause you to stop and rethink and turn around and do a bit of a shift in how you're doing life or in what you have in your life. For others, it can look more like a steep incline, but it's one that you're in the process of doing, and that you know you're accelerating, but there are not big things well, what appears to be big things coming into your life, although it is. And other individuals, it can look like you're getting really strong visions, and you're seeing what it is that you're here to create, and you're seeing it in a way that you've never seen it before, or you're seeing it in a way where it's much bigger than you ever envisioned it to be big. And that can also bring up things. It can bring up, wow, who am I to do this? Or can I do this? Or how do I do this? Or you've got to be kidding me. There's all sorts of ways in which it can show itself. But really, what we're saying, and as we're speaking, there's a lot of energy coming in as well. So when we transmit, we're always bringing in energy. So as we're bringing in energy, the energy we're bringing in is of kind of an expansive energy, but it's also an alignment energy. So it's giving you, it's a bit like widening the path. So rather than feeling like you're walking down a narrow path, and you're ascending, what these energies are supporting you to do or supporting you with is to widen the path. Because as you come into, it's almost like coming into a softer focus where you can use what you call your peripheral vision. That will help you with the ascension process. It will help you to see beyond what's right in front of you, and to soften the way in which you are ascending or rising through your life when you start to allow what you call that peripheral vision and what we're naming as the path widening as you're ascending. That will support you to kind of like take in the sights as you go, because I think we think, okay, well, we think and I think and that what can happen is that the focus, because the ascension is becoming more accelerated and you could say steeper, what can happen is that the focus can get narrow, and it's a bit like you're putting a lot of energy and an effort into that process. And when you soften or take space or give yourself more spaciousness or rest, and just allow the smell of the roses, the sound of the bees, the shift in the sand or the soil under your feet, when you allow a little bit of more breath in, is going to soften the experience, and it's not going to slow you down. In fact, it's going to speed you up, because when you soften, that really allows that which is coming towards you to come in a way where you can receive it with ease. Now we realize we've gone a little off topic because we've spoken about like how to be with these energies, and yeah, so we'll pause here now.
No, thank you for sharing all of that because it really touches so much of what we've been experiencing on many, many different levels. And it's almost as if that softening that you and the guides speak of is the requirement. It's almost on a quantum level, um, appreciation and gratitude, but it really is allowing. It's an allowance, and we can't chase and push. So, in one part, it feels like that softening is allowing us to attune to a frequency, right? Instead of pushing or reaching or chasing it or trying to analyze it with the brain, we're just being very present in those energies. What are your thoughts about that and how we begin to manifest? And so we're talking about actualizing our vision. So we do have visions. And I just want to back up before you answer that question and share that, yes, all right, so this is the beginning of 3 years. And so if we're through this year and it feels a little better, because we've gone through the changes that were very abrupt at first. Personally, I felt that. But now we feel like we have a little bit more muscle behind it. And it really feels, Catherine and the guides, that it was an opportunity, and I share this from my perspective, for me to go back and master certain aspects that I learned, but I didn't master yet. And it is particularly what we're talking about with our vision. So when we say, okay, what is our vision? Let's really master that vision. And I think that is what was necessary for the acceleration to happen. So I said a lot there and I apologize, but wow, this is what is really currently happening for many, many people. We're going back, we're mastering things for that next level. But then this whole notion of softening really is attuning to the vibration.
We love what you've brought forward. It's on point. It's so on point that we almost have nothing to add to it.
Mm.
What we
Yeah.
would, yeah, there is a piece coming through. Tina ati tia rana ta ki tita akene ti. So when you are developing the muscle to, in a way, transcribe or uh, yeah, transcribe your vision into form and into reality, there is a degree of what you call effort or grind or crunch that happens, and that is almost required. Um, and whilst that can feel very challenging or crunchy or difficult, it is developing within you the essential baseline or muscles or strengthening of various spiritual organs in order to be able to do the next piece. And the next piece that you have so beautifully articulated is the embodiment of the mastery that you have encountered. So that first stage of embodying the mastery can feel a little bit like there is effort involved in it, or there is a learning curve involved in it. And then the next stage that you are speaking about so beautifully, which these next few years are about for many of you, is returning to that which you understand and moving more into an embodiment of that. And through and that and through allowance, through gratitude, through spaciousness, through attuning to the frequency of that mastery, then this process of divine embodiment of that mastery and of all that you be is initiated and comes into divine form. And yes, that is the process that is now available on the Earth Star for each of you.
All right. Thank you for adding your wisdom and guidance on that. We are certainly feeling it. And wow, I love that phrase, embodiment. It's more than mastery. It's truly becoming it and living it. All right. So I just want to say kudos and congratulations to everyone listening who has been through this journey. And thank you for holding in there, holding steady and holding the light because it does feel easier. It does feel like we can take a breath now because we have weathered that part of the storm. And so to think, oh my goodness, we have 2 more years for this. Is there any additional guidance on that? Because I know we're here. I know recently, Catherine climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and we want to have her share on that. Um, and so if these next few years are like Mount Kilimanjaro, share more on this aspect of how we really become steady and solid in this light with no doubt. There's no room for doubt or second guessing us as we go on this path, it feels.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. Yeah, the guys are saying 3 to 5 years just to kind of, time is a bit
Three
liquid.
to five.
Well, I think three, and then there's that kind of, that integration process.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And
no,
and
it's not 3 years
rebuilding.
of what we've done in 2025, because every step, we're creating foundation as well as moving through things. So yeah. Um, yeah. Uh, and although, yeah, um, I haven't looked deeply into 2026. So
Good. I'm kind of scared to do that myself. I'm just like, you know what? It's an even year and it feels better. And so I'm planning ahead in
yeah.
embodiment ways. Wow. Oh, and can I share just one more thing? Before some heavy stuff went down in a shift in my personal year, as I did go back to some basic quantum tools, basic meditation processes and visualizations, that was a gift because I actually say that that is actually what helped part of this old part of me crumble, which I'm so grateful that those tools came in because if I didn't have those tools, well, maybe it's like the chicken and the egg. Did those tools create the shift in my reality? Now I'm starting to think that yes, they did. But on one hand, because that reality was shifting, I'm so grateful that those tools came in ahead of time because they made me stronger. So maybe it's all happening in that quantum way, but it's just miraculous. So I'll let you share on more of that.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're speaking, I can see the kind of the energetics of it. And I
Mm,
think you're placing a real divine truth out out there, which is that um, yeah, things do work in a quantum way, and that what we think is linear is not linear. It's like, the tools support the tools open you to the shift, and the shift starts to happen, and then you start to return to use the tools to support you through the shift. Well, it's all happening at the same time, really. And there isn't really a linear kind of thing. It's like they're all required at the same time to be utilized in the right moment to support the continuation of those shifts. So they're opening you to the shift, and then they're supporting you through the shift, and then they're opening a little bit more to the shift, and then supporting you through the shift to get more. And then you might return to one. I mean, I returned not so much for myself, but I revisited it quite deeply, like I was kind of handing it out again. I thought, God, I haven't kind of talked about this for 20 years. But it's really, really useful at the moment for folks.
can you elaborate on that? What were you handing out? You were saying
Yeah,
that.
so it's a very, very simple tool. It's where we and it's really about ownership. It's like I feel I feel when you. So I feel angry when you don't do the dishes in the evening. If you were to rinse the dishes before you go to bed, then I would feel much more relaxed when I wake up in the morning.
I see. It's wow, it's conversations, it's being able to speak feelings in honor of yourself,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yes,
in a way that's a crucial conversation because it's someone in your reality. So we all have to get along. Okay, interesting.
yeah. Well, what I found interesting about it was that that was something that I taught communication skills many, many, many years ago.
Mhm.
That was one of the basics of it. And I literally hadn't even thought about that phrase.
And that's what I'm talking about. And so, some would say, okay, at first I was calling it we're going back to basics because it really felt like we were going back to the basics. Because
Yeah.
we learn the basics. Okay, on a spiritual level, what do? You meditate, meditate, meditate. But then it was almost like, okay, are you really meditating the way that you should be? And in your instance, here's something that you didn't think of, but it's a very valuable tool. So we are mastering, but now it's beyond mastering. We're embodying those tools,
I
or we're
think we're
remembering.
Yeah, we're absolutely embodying those tools because the essential piece of that tool, the embodiment of that tool is embodying sovereignty. It's total and utter, it's ownership for what it is that we're experiencing, and it's communication of it. And so, yes, and so with meditation, the embodiment of the process of meditation is embodying that ascension process of being incarnating our divine self, our divinity. And it's no longer a conversation that's a mental conversation, which I think it was for a long time. Like we want to ascend, we want to embody our divinity. It was more, I think we had a kind of a mental understanding of what that was about, and maybe to some degree a feeling and maybe a perspective on it. But
Mm.
now the light is strong enough within us for us to amplify that light and also to connect to the divine, the source consciousness that we call the without, that's kind of outside of us, or the source field. And we're able also so to incarnate that, but in a way that's very uniquely us. So that then ignites our divine light within. So that starts to shine and we start to live from that place. And I think we're getting experiences, real experiences of the actual state of being of that. And that's also what meditation is. That meditation is where we come into divine alignment with ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So it's not only just game on, but this is what it's all about now. And
Mm.
there's no turning back. And so and just right now, as you say that, I feel like crying because I can see the world with that. And I can see how all of us watching this actually play a role in that by holding this light and doing this and being a beacon for others. So that is why it's so important, conversations like this, and for people to do the work of ascension, do the work of ascension, do the great cleanup job and everything. So, okay, wonderful. Thank you. And when I cry, that is my heart opening so wide, and I'm really in the quantum, so it's hard to think at this moment. But I wanted to go on with our beautiful conversation and have you share about this journey that you took on Mount Kilimanjaro. What a beautiful sacred mountain. And you're elevated, and there's wisdom in those higher elevations. But what have you learned, or what guidance do you and the guides have for us on that journey and how it relates to our own personal journey right now of manifesting our dreams? What needs to be done?
Mm. Yeah, so I think we've been talking about this through the conversation, and again in a way that's quantum, which is really so delightful and so beautiful. It's certainly my favorite playground. Uh, and to kind of like start to bring in the energies of Mount Kilimanjaro. So we've been here the whole time. So this is more of Mount Kilimanjaro coming in, and Toth is present. And what we would say to your question is that you're all at some level or not, some, at some point, in some way climbing a mountain. You're all in a process of spiritual evolution. You're all in a process of ascension. And one of the like the downloads that we gifted Catherine as she was climbing on that, particularly on that last day, having done the first 6 days, which are they are ascending. You are walking, you are climbing. But the last day is what we call the summit day, or what is called the summit day. And it's a steep climb, and it's a long climb, and it's also a challenging climb. Now the mountain itself, what we would say is like, just to let you know, there are lots of they're kind of flipping in and out in terms of sometimes it's more the mountain that's speaking, sometimes more Toth. So just to, if people are kind of picking up shifts, that's what the shifts are. Uh, the so we would say that the gifts that the mountain gave Catherine as she was climbing on that last day were some ascension tools, or were the ascension the ascension tools, some of the ascension tools that can really support you on your individual journey. Now, if you think about some of the challenges that you face as a mountain that you're climbing, and knowing that you can take some of what we're talking about in terms of when you're physically climbing a peak, um, into how you work with challenges, and also how you hold the vision, or how you access the vision that you carry. So the first step is accessing that vision. Now some people talk about this vision in terms of like your soul purpose. We would say that sometimes people can get stuck in soul purpose and go, what is my soul purpose? What is my soul purpose? Without realizing that actually, in fact, they're doing their soul purpose. You can't not be. You're on your soul path. It's impossible not to be on a soul path. So that's the first piece. But then there's a vision that you carry. You carry something inside you that you have come down onto the earth star to be and to do. And that vision can often be clouded because of what we call separation consciousness, or what you call uh, kind of unprocessed emotions or blocks, or we're actually wanting to use the word disability, which is not the word. I mean, there's a like Catherine's a little bit like there's so much overlay with disability, but what we mean is that there is something that is stopping you from fully seeing your vision. And it's not that you're broken, it's more that you just haven't got the tool, or something's got in the way. Now, one of the beautiful things about moving forward is as you move forward, so when we talk about kind of accessing the energy of Mount Kilimanjaro, what she's offering you is she's offering you an energetic template that supports you in being able to move forward regardless of whether you can see the top, regardless of whether you can see the vision. If you can see 1 foot in front of you, you know where you're going. You just need to do that 1 foot. And then the next piece will come, and the next piece will come. And at some point, the vision will become clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer. So the first piece is trusting that you're actually on your soul path. You just have to do that next piece. So that's the first piece. Tina atitita akene tita akene tia. There's also allowance and gratitude. So when you do
Mhm.
walk, or when you do open up to that's next layer, and you walk through the fog, or you walk through that next few feet, gratitude. Give gratitude. Notice, applaud, notice that you've moved through it. Another piece that's come through that's very vital is guidance. So when Catherine was climbing the mountain, there were guides. There were 11 in the party, and there were 5 guides. So when you think about it, that's one guide per two people. And that's often what's missed in particularly what we would almost call the Western culture, is that there is a beautiful do it yourself mentality, which is essentially sovereignty. However, it's sometimes got a little over the top. And there's this sense of you have to do it yourself, or you have to take full responsibility. Or it can flip to the other, in that how come someone else is not doing this for me because I dot 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 dot. When really it's a combination, it's a co-creation. Guidance is essential. And that guidance, yes, can come in the form of friends, it can come in the form of community, it can come in the form of a mentor, it can come in the form of the therapeutic kind of relationship. There are all sorts of ways of having guidance, but guidance is essential. Tina atitita akene tita rana ashika titika akene tia. So then the other piece is community. And then the other piece is so this is more around the support processes, things that will support you. The other piece is the journey itself is supporting you. So we know this is a little paradoxical, but if we take it to the mountain, to to really ascend and climb a peak with ease is to open to the mountain. It's to open to the energy of the mountain, because the mountain will carry you. And the mountain carried Catherine as it carried all the participants. And the mountain also gives you access to the pass. You can't access the peak of a mountain unless the mountain opens the way. And you can't tune in to the mountain opening the way unless you open yourself to the forces that are around you. to the forces of nature, to the forces of your own journey, to the forces of the divine. They will carry you. And that is possibly one of the biggest learnings that came from from the actual climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, is how much community and how much the mountain is actually carrying you. So you cannot do these journeys alone, and never were you expected to do them alone. Tina atitita akenedi. And this is the one of the biggest shifts that's happening in the spiritual community. It's one of the biggest shifts that's happening at large, is the recognition that these journeys are journeys of co-creation, and they're journeys that you cannot do alone. And so to share what it is that you're doing, to share your vulnerabilities, to share your journey, and to come into co-creation and co-create those next pieces together is going to be the next ascension spiral that you've all been in preparation for, and that you're all starting to come together. So no longer are you isolated pieces of dots on the world stage or on the mountains. You are actually in relationship to yourselves, to each other, and to everything, to the earth, to source consciousness. And you're starting to form those links. And those links are going to be what brings you through this process with grace and with ease and with love. And that is happening everywhere. So when you connect physically or connect energetically with others in this journey, you're also connecting to the cosmos. You're connecting points on the Earth star to star systems. You're connecting your dimensional, like your different dimensions that you operate in to your, you're connecting up all your different dimensions. You're also connecting up your consciousness to the different dimensions in which you are in co-creation with those individuals on the Earth star. So there is so much happening in these moments. And then we could speak about more about strength and courage and perseverance and those sorts of qualities. And they're also extraordinarily important in this process. But we feel like this is the one that is the one that is being asked to be spoken about in this now moment.
Wow, and it's so perfect. I'm wondering how many others are feeling this and seeing this in our realities. And wow, just I'm having opportunities pop up like this of connecting in community like this. I mean, it really is amazing. And so, okay, the journey itself is supporting us. I absolutely love that. And as you were sharing about the journey and the summit day, one thing I'm reminded about, and it's so beautiful, one thing I'm reminded about is that, in Colorado, there's 14,000-foot mountains, 14ers we call them. And I don't do it anymore because the false summit. Did you have a false summit? There's so many false summits. You think that's the summit, and you're almost ready to give up. You think it's the summit. That is symbology right here. That's powerful symbology to not give up. And if you think you're in a false summit, or if you think you see the summit, but it's not yet the summit, open up, relax, allow the mountain to carry you. Okay, I just wanted to share that because it's just a beautiful analogy of what you're talking about. So many times we would just want to give up, but we're not going to give up. And that's why you're talking about the strength and the perseverance is very important. Just to go through it and maybe lean on the community, lean on the mountain for support. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true.
So another question that I have as we're talking about the guides and the realms that are there to help us, not only just in our physical community, but our guides. And I know many are opening up more and more and more and more. And we've asked this a number of times with you. What do you say when we're getting the information, but we just don't trust it. Like
Oh,
we get the information, right? It comes off the top of our head, but then there's something about it that says we made it all up.
oh,
What
oh,
can we do in that instance? Because it's not being made up. For example, we could say, I see a ship in the sky. I'm being guided by the galactic beings. I'm feeling beings who are trying to communicate with me. But then a moment later, we're like, oh, you just made it up. And we're
okay.
stone sober, right? There's nothing going on, but it's just this doubt. And I know many may experience that. What are your thoughts on how we truly begin to trust what we're getting? We're not making it up,
Mm.
or
I,
are we?
oh, no, that's a good question. Or are we?
Mm, I know.
Okay, so yeah, so there are lots of different things we could, lots of different ways we could move into that. So the first, um, yeah, it's a very interesting question. And I personally have a almost like a hypercritical part to myself where I will examine things before I go, yes, that was real. Um, so I actually think that that's not a bad thing.
Mm,
Um, and I also think that that actually helps because, I mean, I'm kind of getting this a little bit channeled, is because it's a little easy. Um, and this might be a little challenging for some of you, but it's a little easy to go into what I'm just going to call spiritual woo land. And if you're willing to hold that what you are perceiving is real and be willing to be, shall we say, proven wrong, that it's not real, that it's something else, it's, for example, a natural phenomenon, then you're going to have the capacity to like discern is one way, but to hold the understanding that what you are perceiving is real to you in the moment, and your interpretation of what you're perceiving is accurate and real to you in the moment, and the grace that if some information comes along that may go, well, actually, I'm one, this is maybe sounding a little bit more like it's not, it's something else. My perception was one thing, and now actually my perception is shifting. Then what you're enabling for yourself is you're in a way creating a sacred container for information to drop in and for your perspective to shift. So your perspective can be real in one moment and then shift in another. And that is perfect because you are in a constant state of evolution or in a constant state of change. And so your understanding of what you experience is going to shift over time. And when you can start to master that, then doubt doesn't exist. It can't exist because what you're doing is you're allowing for the information to drop in each and every now moment, and for your relationship with that information to be what it is in each and every moment. And that relationship to that information, or the perception of the information as you receive it, is going to be accurate 100% all the time, because in essence, like everything, it is a co-creation. So you are what you are, and you are perceiving and experiencing your reality as you do that, as you do that, and it is real to you. It is true. It cannot be not true, for it is. It is your experience. It is your reality. It does not make it a scientific Well, scientific facts have chosen to use black and white, but science changes all the time and scientific understanding changes all the time. So it does not mean that you are right or you are wrong, because again, there is no right and wrong. There is only the perception in the moment that is required by you and is real for you. And that is accurate. So if, for example, you see a beautiful cloud formation in the sky that is in the shape of a spaceship, and the energy pouring through what appears to be the round shape is so potent and so strong that you are thunderstruck and you stay there and you receive the energy. Then that is a perception for you that is real of a spaceship, and so it be, and so it is, and it is that. And if later you find out that there's some kind of weather pattern that has created this through the sky, it can still be a reality and still be a truth that that it is many spaceships that have come down. It's not it's your experience. You've received a thunderbolt of energy and a beautiful moment, and that is perfect. And if at some point it feels to you like, well, maybe it wasn't a spaceship, but maybe it was lots of beautiful energy, that's perfect too. It's absolutely perfect. And yes, we would say there are many galactic spaceships and there are many galactic beings coming onto the Earth star. This is our perception of reality. And this is also, we're going to kind of name that is happening. So yeah, I mean, as we said, there were many ways that we could answer this question. So that's where we've chosen to dive in, because we feel that that's what's going to support you and your community most.
Thank you. That is really important because it is, again, following the feeling of the energetics. And um, if we feel a certain way or we're moved a certain way, that is our own discernment. And so thank you for sharing that because it makes it clear for us. Okay. I wanted to have you share more on the sacred container that we create. And we hear about this a lot. We need a container. Can you expand on what is happening or how we would create a container? What is involved with that for those who are new to that concept?
Yeah, no, it's a really beautiful question, because um again we can enter into um we can use language sometimes that doesn't really, it's language, but it doesn't hit home enough, because the language doesn't really tell us enough about what the thing itself is. So when we talk about it, when we talk about sacred containers, so what's happening energetically when in that moment when we talked about sacred containers is it's like you're opening up space inside yourself to receive even more. So it's like opening your heart to something. It's like when earlier in the show, Laura and Gailey's heart opened and tears came forward. It's a similar process. You're opening yourself up to feel more, to have an idea, to have a new thought, to change, to have a deeper relationship or a more intimate relationship with yourself or another. So in a way, it's like it's opening up it's opening something up in yourself. And so when you think about a container holds liquid, or it holds something. And so a small container holds a little bit, and then a larger container holds a bit more. So when you open up your heart, or you open up an aspect of yourself, you're opening up the ability to hold more and to receive more. So this is what we mean when we talked about when you sit in the truth, that your perception is your perception and it's true for you in the moment. You are, in essence, creating the sacred container, or you're creating an ability to hold more information, to hold more light, to hold more love. And that essentially is what a container does. And when you talk about it, when we talk about a sacred container holds the light of the divine. And that light of the divine can be expressed or experienced in so many different ways. And those different ways are going to be what's most aligned for you in the moment. And the other thing about a sacred container is, unlike a glass or a solid physical container, a sacred container it holds the divine energy, but it shifts, so it's dynamic. So rather than being a particular shape and a particular size all the time, it will be shifting its size, its shape, its form in order to because it's adjusting to the divine that is flooding in, or that you're holding, or that you're creating or requiring in the moment. So this is what we talk about when we talk about sacred containers or sacred geometry, because sacred geometry really is a sacred container. And so this is also what light language is doing. It's a sacred form that is coming in, and it is a container in itself, because it's holding light, it's holding language, well, it's holding light, and it's holding the divine energy. And so it had all these sacred containers, and you're a sacred container, your physical body is. So it's dynamically shifting um, as the divine light is entering. And this is also what's happening when you're doing release work. What you're doing is you're creating a more of a sacred container by taking out the contaminants of that container. So it's a bit like, when you have impurities in something that's been created, when you take out the impurities, the container itself becomes more crystalline or clear. It has more ability it has more strength in it, more, yeah. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about containers.
That is such a beautiful visualization. We are sacred crystalline containers, allowing the divine energy to flow. And the more that we clean up the inside, the more that expands. I just got that vision. Wow. Thank you, Catherine, and the guides for sharing that. That is very, very helpful. Wow. All right. There is a beautiful opportunity for people to work with you very deeply in a personal session, but also in an online group. And I love that both of these are available separately and together. I encourage everyone to do the full bundle because it is such an extensive, supportive program. Tell us about the webinar and then tell us about the session with you. Thank you.
Sure. So the webinar is divine alignment. And we've been speaking about embodying the divine, and that is absolutely what I'm championing at the moment, is to support individuals like yourselves to move into embodying your divinity and your divinity as you. And the first, in my experience and in what the guides have brought forward, is one of the first access points to that is alignment. So we need to come into alignment with ourselves. And that means coming into a true relationship with who it is that we are in the moment. And that's what we could say warts it all. So that's what the Divine Alignment Masterclass does. It brings you into a deeper alignment with yourself. And we can also talk about alignment in terms of the central channel. So we have a central channel that runs through us. The chakras, the main energy centers are lined up on that central channel. So bringing that into alignment, so the chakra system is lined up and it's widened, or that central channel is lined up, really supports us to come into true alignment with who we are. And we also have other access points. We have a horizontal one, which is more the love access, and lots of others. But that's essentially, we talk about just coming into divine alignment with ourselves, and that central channel as being a really important piece of that. So that's what the masterclass is about. And yes, it's a deep process. It's every time the guides bring it through, I've done it before a number of times, and every time it comes through a little bit different. So sometimes it comes through with a meditation, or sometimes with activations. Definitely always with a bit of release work as well. So that's what that class will be about, and it's a 90-minute group class.
Thank you. Yeah.
So,
No, thank you for that. That is recorded if people cannot join that, and they can find the dates on this webpage. And then the extra support opportunity is a personal session with you.
It's a personal session with me and the guides, and that is an opportunity to go even deeper. So to really uh, attune you more and more and more to your divine frequency. Uh, yeah, and so it's an opportunity for you to bring what it is that you would like to speak about. And we will work together, me and the guides, to support you in with that. And that can look like what is called more like a traditional healing, although it is, we do go quite deep if that's what's aligned. And you can also bring questions if you have if that's something that is really important to you and you feel like you've got some kind of things that you would really like a little bit more insight on. So we can also use the time for that. And it's a channeled conversation.
Ah, it's a channeled conversation. So,
Okay, thank
as
you.
you have helped people in the past in these sessions, what would be good questions for people to ask? I know it's the whole gamut, but you've helped people. And so some of the situations this year alone has helped them really attune. As you said, it's really attuning to our divine frequency. Is there anything else you can share about other questions that people can ask on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think yeah, so it can be like if I simplify it, so it can be questions or healing or both. If I just kind of use kind of more commonly understood language. Um, in terms of a good question, what is really helpful is to sit with what is it that I am, what area of my life do I feel I've is kind of lagging behind? Because sometimes we've done a lot of work in relationships, we've done a lot of work in our mission, but there's maybe we haven't done so much work, we haven't kind of really opened up and examined home life. Um, so I think it's really helpful to go, okay, what is it that I'm not really addressing here? And what is it that is, and then the questions can be like, what's stopping me? What do I need to, where am I, what is it that's stopping me from actually exploring this? And what is it that can really support me to open more of my divine self in that area of my life? So that's one way to ask a question, or you can go very broad, like what is my can uh, like what is my next step? Um, what is my soul purpose? If that's something that what is the vision that I carry? How do I access that? I'm very much like I come from a very therapeutic lineage, and I'm very much about empowering you or empowering individuals to access who you are and access your ability to know, to have that divine knowing within. Um, and it's a little bit like whatever questions are going to support you to open up to your own sense of sovereignty, your own sense of being empowered to move forward into your life, or whatever shifting or healing is going to support you, then for me, that is the most fundamental, most important piece of work we can do. And it's really what I'm here for, is to support individuals to be empowered to be themselves so that you can live your life according to what it is that you are most attuned to be here and do, what's going to light your fire. Um, yeah, so I think that's almost a better answer to the question.
So any and all beings who want to get their inner fire lit, like a wildfire, not burning out of control, but in a directed burn
Yeah.
called Ascension. It's really important to work with Catherine. So, Catherine, this is what I love about it. This inner work, we can do these cleanup jobs on our own. Meditation and all those tools are really helpful. But when we invest in a person outside of ourselves, a facilitator, let's say it, that person is again holding a space for us that we may not see. And so those questions that are asked it's almost like a genie ball, and it's your guides who are answering and giving such support, but you're helping someone uncover subconscious beliefs and blocks, and that really only comes from an outside person looking in and assisting with that based on our questions. So it really is helpful to have a session like this just for the clarity that comes through and the newness. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for supporting so many light workers on this journey. Really, it is quite extraordinary. And we're just in deep gratitude for you for doing that for so many people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your special offer, I want to put a plug out for everyone. It's available on this webpage where you're watching this video. It's in the description box as well. You'll find a link for that. And we encourage you to sign up for this. Again, both of those options are available for one beautiful price, and you can access that right away. So I am so grateful for you, Catherine, and I'm sensing there might be a short little light language activation transmission that might want to come through right now. Am I right?
Yes, there's always a short light language transmission ready to come through. Okay. All right. Tina, we'll go for about a few minutes. Tina ata ta akene titi kia rana shanata akene titi ka akene tia. So laying on the foundation of all that you've been up to. Shanatitiki Tia Rana Aka Akene Tia, bringing the energies of Mount Kilimanjaro, Tina Ashikata Tikinata Akene Tia Rana Ashikata Akene Tia, to begin to open a portal of wisdom, Naasatika Akene Tia, on how best you can move forward in your life. Shinati Tia Rana Ashikata Akene Tia, the portal of Mount Kilimanjaro, Naashika Akene Tia, is a crystalline energy that has the unity consciousness template Nasakatiti Rana Ashikata Akaneti available within. Shinatita Akaneti at the moment it is opening Naasatikia Rana Ashika Akaneti to download to each of you, if you inviting you to call in your higher self, Nasakateta Akaneti, your guides, Nasakatitika Akaneti, the star portal within and without Mount Kilimanjaro so that you can fully receive Nasakata Akanitio. And at the moment, we're encouraging or allowing and inviting keys and codes in the form of love and light language, Nasaka Akenetia, to begin to drop into your field. Nasaka Tiktika Akenetita Ashanata Akenetitia Ranesha Akenetia. From this energetic vortex within Mount Kilimanjaro and Ashikata Akenetia. So Mount Kilimanjaro's energetic vortex has the ability to reach throughout the entire globe, Nasa Titikiti Akenetia, and we're inviting it and you to receive from it directly Naasaka ake that which is aligned for you. Naasa titikitia naashika ake netita ake netia. Isha, there are no false starts. Nasatia rana shita ake netia. There are no false beginnings. Nasakata ake netia. There are only naashika ake evolutionary steps. Nasatita ake netia ake netia. Much like Naasa when Lauren brought forward the false summit, Naasatita ake netia. The energies are also around Naasaka for you to pick up around being kind of the perseverance, Nasata Ake Netia, the opening to the next layer, Naasakata Ake Netitia, Naashika Ake, being willing to stop and rejuvenate, Naasakata Ake to take spaciousness, to take rest, China Ake before you move on to the next piece, Naasakatiti Ake Netia, to give gratitude, Naashakatitika Ake Netia, Shinata ake netio for a false peak or what feels like a false peak, really, ta ake is a resting place. Shinata can be thought of as a resting place. Naskata ake netio. There's much information coming through, so we're tying up a few kind of almost loose ends in the conversation, as well as bringing in this beautiful energetics. So now the energetics are flowing through for each of you, and we'll move into silence and just inviting you to receive in this moment. We'll bring through a few words: love, love, love. Unity, unity, unity. Allowance. Rest. Commitment. Release. Activation. Divine presence. Tashanate yama hakaya tianei. Each of you are divine beings. Each of you hold keys and codes of unity consciousness or new earth consciousness. And each of you have ascended. Shanataya rana taya patiya rana ashanataya, and will continue to do so. Yarana ta'ake, and you're each receiving tina aka ake with the support of your guides. Shanata ake nitia, a little heart opening activation. Tiarana ta'aka ake nitia, to support you on your journey. Shamarana mataya titia aka ake nitia. With love and with grace, we complete the energetics of this moment together, knowing that you will continue to receive for the next 24 hours, at which point this particular portal will close. Aranata aka ake ne tita ake ne tiai, and you will receive from the earth energies to support you to integrate this. Shanatairana mata aka ake ne tia. And if at any point the energies are too strong, simply ask them to be softened. Ashanatai tia rane kiti ti aka ake ne tia, with love and with grace, and with celebration and with joy. We complete.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am feeling a lot of warmth and heat right now. So I am feeling that activation. And I hope everyone is feeling the beautiful frequencies. Thank you so much, Catherine O'Connor and the guides, for this beautiful transmission today and this very empowering and supportive conversation. As we say goodbye, Catherine, any final thoughts?
Really joy. Bring joy into your heart. Do what you love. And my other final thought is, what a beautiful quantum conversation. I feel like we've dived in at various points, and it's felt very much like a co-creation, which I love. And that we're in a quantum field, and these are quantum conversations. So I think my greatest thought is gratitude to you, and gratitude to your community for being present, for you hosting these extraordinary shows, and for the community that have gathered around you to really, kind of be here with that. So thank you.
Likewise, thank you, Catherine O'Connor. This is so beautiful. You have elevated us, you have lifted us, and we feel it. And for that, our world has shifted and we are ascended, as the guides mentioned. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for watching as well. And we hope that you join Catherine in this beautiful experience of light. Thank you and namaste. Bye. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.